In July 1939, a radar set built to find ships suddenly detected something else: artillery shells splashing into water as measurable blips. The experiment ran at Bawdsey Manor, the radar development site, while a battery outside Harwich test-fired 9.2-inch coastal guns. The Army already wanted radar measuring range and direction for coastal defense. Each impact made a strong return, meaning a reflected signal on the display, lasting long enough to measure direction and range. During an August demonstration, operators saw more than water bursts. Individual rounds appeared while still in flight. That observation widened the equipment's job from spotting ships to supporting artillery tracking. Coast artillery radar then developed in parallel with ship detection work, using largely the same hardware. One radar design could now help coastal guns measure where shots and targets were. The same radar hardware could serve two jobs at one coastal station. A local news cooperative became so successful that ABC, CBS, and NBC subsidized satellite trucks for their own stations. Before satellite newsgathering, standard microwave links usually reached only about 30 miles. Farther assignments could outrun a station's live connection. That made remote local reporting expensive or impossible to relay live. CONUS leased a transponder on SBS3 and built Newstar vehicles costing $250,000 to $330,000. A pilot Newstar truck sent coverage of a 1984 murder trial 150 miles to KSTP-TV, far beyond microwave range. Because stations belonged to the cooperative, they could share stories directly, including live coverage after the 1989 Loma Prieta earthquake. One reporter delivered about 30 live reports to stations across the United States and Japan. By 2002, its affordable model spread until major networks and stations were using satellite truck services themselves. That left the truck, not a distant network crew, at the center of local coverage. Singapore's first fully autonomous lighthouse stood not on a remote shore but atop a 25-story residential building. It was also the first lighthouse on a mainland residential building. Its predecessor, Fullerton Lighthouse, had become obscured by high-rise development around Marina Bay. A replacement still needed to guide ships into Singapore's port. Bedok began on 9 August 1978, while Fullerton continued operating until the end of that year. Bedok put the lamp 76 meters above sea level on the building's roof. Its lamp produced 600,000 candelas, a measure of light intensity, and reached 42 kilometers. A telegraph line, an electrical communication link, connected the lighthouse to the port operations room for remote monitoring. That reduced manpower while a skeleton crew helped prevent vandalism. Bedok's characteristic was one white flash every 5 seconds, giving ships a predictable signal. Its automated design also became a model for automating other Singapore lighthouses. Decades before Challenger, engineer Frank W. Lehan patented a satellite rescue system. The technology later became relevant to search and rescue efforts around the disaster. Lehan never earned profit from the invention or its patent. Lehan developed SARUS with James Fletcher. Its full name was Search and Rescue Using Satellites. They designed it for maritime crews sending SOS signals. Satellites detected those SOS transmissions, then helped locate and track their sources across long distances. That turned a distress call into a signal rescuers could follow. NASA was initially interested in the work, but the pair patented it. Lehan said NASA later received public credit and spent 17 years trying to recreate the invention. SARUS became a predecessor of modern satellite-detectable transponders, compact devices that broadcast identifying signals. A transponder is a device that sends a detectable signal. That lineage connects maritime SOS signals with rescue devices detectable from orbit. Before Jak and Daxter, the precursor legacy could be developed in the United States, its kit reportedly had to be smuggled across a border. That kit was a platform-specific SDK, meaning a package of tools built for one hardware and operating system combination. It connected development work to the target console rather than a generic computer. An SDK could include a compiler which turns source code into executable software, plus a debugger, libraries, documentation, and utilities. Platform kits could also include hardware interfaces communicating with the target system. For this project, export restrictions made access to that complete package the central logistical obstacle. Bringing the kit into the United States became necessary before local development and testing could proceed. Without the appropriate kit, developers could lack the software and hardware required to build and test the game. The project therefore depended on moving a physical development package, not simply downloading an ordinary file. Europe's largest medieval port crane ended its working life mainly lifting the sterns of smaller ships so their propellers could be repaired. Completed in 1444, the Gdansk crane joined the city's riverfront defenses. Tall brick towers supported a wooden lifting structure extending toward the Metlawa River. The structure was incorporated into the city walls. Its original job was straightforward, loading cargo onto ships and offloading it again. The crane reached over the river. It connected dockside work with vessels beside Gdansk's port. This made loading and offloading possible from the riverfront. As port needs changed in the 19th century, its main use narrowed. By century's end, operators primarily raised smaller ships' sterns for propeller repairs. The wooden crane was destroyed during the 1945 Siege of Danzig. Restoration from 1956 to 1959 restored the crane, and its old lifting mechanisms were reinstalled in 1966. A fictional insult for battle droids became a real-world label for delivery robots and language models as automation entered everyday life. William Tenn used the word in a 1958 science fiction article for robots resembling those in Metropolis. Star Wars later made it prominent as an insult against battle droids in Republic Commando and the Clone Wars. In 2025, Direct Contact gave the label new targets. People encountered delivery robots on sidewalks, automated accounts online, and large language models in everyday tools. The insult moved from fictional dialogue toward systems people could directly encounter. That contact made the criticism concrete. Sidewalk robots could obstruct mobility, automated accounts crowded digital spaces, and workplace automation raised fears of displacement. Critics also questioned AI's resource use and copyrighted training material. A proposed 2025 U.S. bill connected the term to disclosure and a human alternative in automated customer service. Clanker now captures unease about the systems producing answers and occupying shared spaces. Anthology of the Killer did not keep every location neatly separate. Stephen Gilmurphy arbitrarily combined places and squeezed jokes into its horror. Gilmurphy made 9 free games under 2 pseudonyms, released on Game Jolt from 2020 through 2024. They follow BB, a college student exploring XX City for zine material. The games are mostly walking simulators. Players explore spaces and read dialogue in hovering bubbles while escape sequences replace conventional combat. He brainstormed jokes first, then adjusted them into each story. When a location felt unsuitable, he combined it with another arbitrarily and blended visual elements while revising. Horror and comedy were balanced deliberately, creating an unsettling cycle of tension and release. That improvised method became a recognizable surreal style across the collection, which won the 2024 IGF Nuovo Award. Players encounter the result as strange spaces, hovering dialogue, and jokes that interrupt the fear.